Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to do something really cool. We are going to completely transform your shopping experience. We're going to take your English from simple, basic phrases to professional, confident expressions that will make you feel totally at home in any store. So let's get started.
You know that feeling when you walk into a store and you want to ask something, but you feel a little hesitant, maybe a bit unsure of the right words? Yeah, you are not alone. But today, we're going to fix that. We're going to give you the tools to shop with total confidence.
Okay, so it all starts the moment you walk through the door. First impressions really count, so let's make sure yours is a great one. So picture this, you've just entered a clothing store. A friendly salesperson walks up and asks if you need any help, but you're not looking for anything specific yet. So what do you say?
You know, it's pretty amazing what a difference just one word can make. While I just see kind of gets the point across, saying I'm just browsing, thank you, is the natural, polite phrase native speakers use all the time. It's friendly and it immediately lets them know you're comfortable and don't need help just yet.
All right, let's try another super common scenario. You're in a huge department store and that feeling of being a little lost starts to set in. You know what you want, but you have no idea where to find it. Here, the key is moving from a direct command to a really polite question. The professional phrase, "Could you tell me where the men's section is just, it's softer and way more courteous. That tiny change in structure makes a huge difference in the tone. Okay, you've got your directions, you've found the right section, now you're zeroing in on an item you like, and it's time to ask a few more specific questions. This is probably the most common question in any shopping trip. You found a great-looking jacket, but of course, there's no price tag. You need to ask. This is a tiny fix, but it has a huge impact. Just adding that one little word turns a phrase that sounds a bit like a telegram into a complete fluent question. How much is this? It just flows so much more naturally. All right, you like the price, but the shirt on the rack isn't your size. You've got to find out if they have other options available. See the pattern here? We're moving from these simple statements to complete questions. Asking, do you have this in a smaller size, is clearer and just sounds more professional. It really shows you have a stronger command of the language. You've got the item in what you hope is the right size. Now it's time for the moment of truth. Let's head to the fitting room to see if it's the one. Now you can't always just walk into the fitting room. You usually need to ask first. So how do you do that politely and correctly? Oh, this is such a great upgrade. First, using could I is so much more polite than saying I want. And second, try on is the specific phrasal verb we use for clothes. Could I try this on, please, is just the perfect professional phrase to use here. So you're in the fitting room, you put on the jeans, and they're either too tight or way too loose. It's just not right. You need to be able to say that. Again, a small grammatical tweak makes all the difference in the world. This doesn't fit me well is the correct way to say it. And that little word well at the end, it adds a really nice descriptive touch that just sounds much more fluent. All right, you found it. The perfect item that fits you well. Now it's time for the final step, heading to the checkout counter to make it yours. Now this one can feel a bit tricky, right? But in some shops, it's perfectly acceptable to ask for a discount. The absolute key is how you ask. This is all about tone. Give me a discount sounds like a demand, which can come across as pretty rude. But by simply framing it as a polite question, could you give me a discount on this? You're so much more likely to get a positive response, or at the very least, keep the whole interaction friendly. And there you have it, from entering the store all the way to paying at the counter. Let's do a quick recap of the key principles to really lock in these new skills. You know, it really just comes down to these 3 simple steps. First, use polite framing, like could you or could I? Second, always try to ask full, grammatically correct questions. And third, use that specific vocabulary we talked about, like browsing or try on. That right there is your formula for success. And now, a little challenge for you. I want you to focus on this number, 5. On your next shopping trip, I challenge you to use at least 5 of these professional phrases we've covered today. Which one are you going to start with? Let me know in the comments below. Happy shopping, and I'll see you in the next one.